Hey Jason, here from Simply Swider. So if your fridge is warm but your freezer is still working perfectly fine, don't worry. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to fix it. Good news is this is actually one of the most common refrigerator problems I see, and most of the time you can get it sorted without calling someone like me. Before we get started, if you run into any questions, jump into our Facebook group, links in the description. We've got thousands of people helping each other fix their appliances, and I pop in there daily to help out. All right, so here's what's happening. Your freezer's humming along just fine, keeping everything frozen solid, but your milk's going bad and your leftovers are sitting at room temperature. It's frustrating, I know. I had this customer last month call me in a panic because she just lost a whole week's worth of groceries. Turns out it was a super simple fix that took about 10 minutes. Here's what's happening. Your refrigerator only has one cooling system and it's located in the freezer. Cold air is produced there, then a fan circulates it into the fresh food section through small vents. When this airflow gets blocked or the circulation system fails, your freezer stays cold but your fridge warms up. Let's figure out what's blocking that cold air from getting where it needs to go. The very first thing we need to check is whether cold air can actually move around inside your refrigerator. You can see on the screen right now where these air vents are located. They're usually on the sides or back wall of both compartments. Here's what happens. Your fridge makes cold air in the freezer section, then uses these little vents to push that cold air into the fresh food section. If those vents get blocked, well, no cold air gets through. Simple as that. Now, there are two main ways these vents get blocked. The most common one, you've probably got too much stuff crammed in there. I can't tell you how many times I've walked into someone's kitchen and found containers, leftovers, and grocery bags shoved right up against these vents. The air's got nowhere to go. The second way is ice buildup. Sometimes these vents freeze over completely. Looks like a little ice curtain blocking everything. When that happens, it's like putting a cork in a bottle. So here's what we're going to do. Open up both compartments and look for these vents. Move anything that's blocking them. I'm talking at least a couple inches of clearance all around. If you see ice covering the vents, unplug your fridge for about 4 hours. Leave the doors open and let everything thaw out. You might want to put some towels down because there's going to be water. Once you plug it back in, make sure you keep those vents clear. Your fridge will thank you for it. Another common culprit is that rubber seal around your fridge door. We call it the door gasket. This little guy is what keeps all that cold air from escaping every time you close the door. What happens is, over time, this gasket loses its grip. Maybe it's gotten slack with age, maybe it's warped from heat, or maybe it's just worn out. When it can't seal properly, cold air leaks out and warm air creeps in. Your freezer's still sealed tight, but your fridge is basically trying to cool the whole kitchen. To check this, close your fridge door like normal, then run your hand around the edges. Feel any cold air coming out? That's your problem right there. You can also try the dollar bill test. Close a dollar bill in the door and try to pull it out. If it slides out easy, your seal's shot. Replacing a door gasket isn't too complicated, but it does take some patience. Always unplug your refrigerator and wait 5 minutes before starting any repair work. This ensures you're safe from electrical shock and gives the system time to depressurize. Then you're going to work that old gasket out of the groove around the door frame. The new one goes in the same way, but here's a pro tip. Use a hairdryer on low heat to warm up the new gasket as you're installing it. Makes it way more flexible and easier to work with. Once it's in, close the door and check for any gaps or loose spots. A good door seal can save you tons of money on your electric bill, not to mention keeping your food fresh. If your airflow is good and your door seal's tight, we need to look deeper, literally. We're talking about the evaporator coils, which are hidden behind the back panel inside your fridge. These coils are basically the heart of your cooling system. They're what actually removes heat from the air inside your refrigerator. But here's the thing, if they get covered in ice, they can't do their job. It's like trying to breathe through a pillow. To check these, you're going to need to do a little disassembly, unplug your fridge, and empty out the fresh food section. Remove all the shelves so you can get to that back panel. You'll need a screwdriver set, typically Phillips head screws, and this whole process takes about 15-20 minutes to disassemble. Some models have wire connectors that simply pull apart, while others have small clips you'll need to press and release. Once you get that panel off, you should see these coils. They look like a bunch of metal tubes snaking around. If they're working properly, they should be clear. If they look like they're wrapped in a blanket of ice, that's your problem. The fix is pretty straightforward. You got to let all that ice melt. Leave the fridge unplugged with both doors wide open for 6, 8 hours or overnight for heavy ice buildup. Place thick towels both inside the compartments and on the floor in front of the fridge. You can expect 2 cups of water, so check and replace towels every few hours. Don't try to chip the ice off or use a hairdryer, just let it melt naturally. Once it's all thawed out and dried off, reassemble everything and plug it back in. Now, if those evaporator coils keep freezing up again after you've defrosted them, we've got a different problem on our hands. There's a component called the defrost heater that's supposed to prevent exactly this kind of ice buildup. This heater kicks on several times a day for just a few minutes to melt any frost that's trying to form on those coils. When it stops working, ice builds up faster than you can say warm fridge. Here's how you know it's the defrost heater. You manually defrost those coils like we just talked about. Everything works fine for maybe a week or two, then boom, same problem all over again. That's the telltale sign. Replacing a defrost heater isn't too bad, but you do need to be comfortable working with electrical connections. You'll follow the same steps to get to those evaporator coils, but then you need to look underneath them. The defrost heater is usually held in place with some metal clips or straps. Carefully unplug the wire connections, remove the old heater, and slide in the new one. The defrost heater part costs $15.25 and takes about 45 minutes to replace. Compare that to a typical service call of $153, and you're saving serious money while learning a valuable skill. Just make sure you get the exact replacement part for your model. Once the new heater is installed, your coils should stay frost-free and your fridge should get back to keeping things cold. Let's say your coils aren't frozen, but your fridge is still warm. Time to check the evaporator fan motor. This is what actually moves that cold air around inside your refrigerator. You'll hear this fan running when your fridge is cooling. It's usually a quiet humming sound. But if the motor goes bad, that fan stops spinning and cold air just sits there in the freezer instead of circulating to your fresh food section. To test this, listen carefully when your fridge is running. You should hear the compressor running, that's a deeper humming sound. And you should also hear the fan. If you only hear the compressor, your fan motor is probably shot. You can also open the freezer door and look for the fan. It should be spinning. If it's not moving or if it's making grinding or squealing noises, that motor needs to be replaced. This one's a bit more involved to replace because you need to get behind that back panel again. Plus, you're dealing with a motor that's connected to both electrical wires and the fan blade itself. The motor usually costs between 15 and $60 depending on your model. If you're not comfortable working with electrical components, this might be where you call someone like me. But if you're handy with basic wiring, it's definitely doable as a DIY project. Another component that can cause this issue is the damper control. This little device controls how much cold air flows from the freezer to the fridge section. When it gets stuck or fails, you might get plenty of cold air staying in the freezer, but not enough making it to the fresh food compartment. The damper control usually runs about 50 to 120 to replace. It's typically located in the refrigerator section, often near where the air comes from the freezer. If you hear the fan running but still aren't getting cold air in the fridge, this could be your culprit. Now, here's the thing. Sometimes these things just get stuck, and you can unstick them by gently moving the damper door back and forth with your finger. Trust me on this one. I've saved customers $100 just by manually freeing up a stuck damper. But if the control mechanism is broken or the motor that operates it has failed, you're looking at replacement. Don't ask me how I know that, but always try the simple fix first before you start ordering parts. The last thing we need to check is the thermostat. If this component isn't reading temperature correctly, it might think the fridge is cold enough when it's actually warm. The freezer might still work because it has its own cooling priority, but the fridge section won't get the cooling it needs. Now, here's the thing about diagnosing a bad thermostat. It's tricky because the symptoms can look like a lot of other problems. If you've checked everything else we've covered and you're still having issues, and especially if the temperature seems inconsistent, the thermostat might be giving false readings to the control system. This is one where having a multimeter really helps, but if you don't have the tools or experience with electrical testing, it's probably time to call in a professional. All right, so what we're going to do here is replace that faulty thermostat. You can see on the screen right now where it's typically located, usually behind the temperature control panel or inside the fridge compartment. First thing we need to do is unplug the fridge. Trust me on this one. You don't want to be working on electrical components with power flowing through them. Remove the temperature control knob by pulling it straight off, then remove the screws holding the control housing. The thermostat will have a capillary tube that senses temperature and electrical connections that'll need to come off. Here's what I've learned over the years. Take a picture of those wire connections before you disconnect anything. Installation is just the reverse. Connect the wires, route that capillary tube the same way the old one was positioned, and reassemble everything. The good news is thermostat replacement is pretty affordable, about 15 to 40 bucks for the part, and it's a repair that can save you from replacing the whole fridge. Here's your game plan. First, check air vents and door seals. These free fixes solve the problem 60% of the time. If your fridge is still warm after 24 hours, move to the evaporator coils. Still having issues after defrosting, then check the defrost heater and fan motor. Work through these steps in order and you'll diagnose the problem efficiently. Most of the time, one of these fixes will get your fridge back to keeping things cold. The key is working through them systematically instead of just guessing. If you guys know someone who's having appliance troubles, please send them the link to this video or a link to my channel where I have tons of other videos showing how to fix pretty common issues with appliances, sometimes for free or as little cost as possible. It sure beats having a repairman come out and spending several hundred for them to fix it when it could be something so simple. If this helped you get your refrigerator working again, hit that like button and drop a comment below. Let me know which fix worked for you. Really helps other people with the same problem. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. We'll get this out to more folks who need to save some time and money. Thanks for watching, and I hope you guys have a great day.